Chapter 38, Plans and Promises. There wasn't time. Annie wasn't at her bus stop, but she was running toward it. By the time she got into seat 12, she was out of breath. Overslept, she said. I reached into my backpack pocket and handed her the folded piece of paper. You can have it, I said. She opened it and we hunched over and looked at Marvin Gardens. It was one of my better shots, one of Marvin eating the cup. She said, "This is great." I told Ms. G yesterday. She's going to help us. How? I don't know. But since that meeting, I think we need help fast. My dad said they're calling the game warden to set traps, she said. As the bus got closer to school, my nerves went up. Annie must have seen it on my face. Here, she said. She reached into her jeans pocket and pulled out a smooth, bluish slate rock. I got it at the beach at a state park in Oregon. It'll bring you good luck. By the time I got off the bus and walked to Miss G's room, there were two kids waiting for her help already. One of them was Tommy. I didn't even walk through the doorway. Miss G saw this, and I saw her see it. I walked to my own morning homeroom and sat at my desk and stared into space. I swear I could have put my head down in my arms and fallen asleep right there. The pollution fact of the day on the announcements was about 80% of the trash in our landfills could be recycled. Recycle when you can. It makes all the difference. I didn't hear a word of our social studies lesson. I think we talked about the Civil War, gray and blue uniforms. I couldn't remember which was which. I didn't even look at the math homework that was handed back before I turned it into an accordion in the bottom of my backpack. And then the classroom phone rang, and Mr. Mustache told me to report to Miss G's room. That woke me up. She met me at her classroom door. I have a free period. I want to talk some more about what you told me yesterday, she said. I have a bunch of pictures, and I wrote a report. I said, Pictures of what? The animal. I just need a computer. She looked impressed. How about we go to the library, she said. As we walked to the library, I asked, Do you really believe in Bigfoot? Yep. What about aliens or UFOs? Do you believe in them? She took a second to answer that one. I'm not sure what I believe, but I hope there's more intelligent life out there, I guess. We set ourselves up at a corner computer in the library. I put in the address and my password. I found my Marvin Gardens folder and looked over at Miss G. Are you ready? Ready. I opened the folder. I scrolled through the pictures and she sat forward to get a good look. I said, The blue paint wasn't there until yesterday. I think someone shot him with a paintball. They do it to the road signs around my house, too. Wow. That's all she said as I scrolled. When I got to the picture of Marvin eating the plastic cup, I said, So I told you he eats plastic, right? Only plastic, too. I've never seen him eat anything else. Is that your sister's foot? She asked. Yeah. So he's about the size of a dog, maybe a beagle? Bigger than a beagle, but not by much, I answered. And those are babies. There's more than one. 4 babies. Marvin, that's what I named him, and his, mate. 6 in all. I can't believe this, Ob. I know the feeling, I said. It's extraordinary. He's pretty smart, too. He fetches like a dog, sits, and stays, pretty much. Is that the creek you're standing by? The river, the Schuylkill River. This is fascinating, just amazing. I still need your help. She took a deep breath. Now I understand. She took another deep breath. I had no idea. There was a meeting. You know that, right? They think there's a black bear on the loose, and now someone shot Marvin with a paintball. I need to get his whole family out of there and move them somewhere safe. Weird feet. Half hoof and half paw. He swims pretty well, too. I scrolled more slowly so I got to the scat pictures. She was still sitting forward, her mouth slightly open, and I stopped to get my notebook. I wrote the history of finding him here, I said. He's not all perfect, though. She took the notebook and started reading. Sorry about my spelling and handwriting. I wrote it out fast last night. It's fine. I was thinking maybe I could make this my contest project, but I don't really know if it will work. I mean, if he moves on or if a game warden comes to take him away, then I can't really win a contest with an animal who doesn't live there anymore. This is the perfect contest project, she said. You've discovered something really important. She kept reading. She got to the second part about the problem. Do you have pictures of the scat? She asked. I scrolled through all the pictures I'd taken. Hold on, back up, she said. It melted the road? Yeah. She leaned right up to the screen and enlarged the image, but not the metal. I looked at the picture of the road. I'd been so distracted by Tommy's sister driving up behind me that day, I never noticed that the metal grate was fine. I mean, I knew it was, but I didn't think anything of it. Seems not, I said. This is really extraordinary, Obe. It's exciting, she said. Do you mind if I scroll through all of them again? After 5 minutes of scrolling, she said, I think we should figure out a plan of action. Finally. The relief I felt was 10 times what I felt when I'd showed Annie and Bernadette. I knew Miss G was going to come up with a real plan to make sure everything worked out. After all, this was a woman who collected 1 million soda can tabs. She added, Do your parents know any of this? No way. You said Tommy knows, right? Tommy and his friends tried to lure him into their turf by putting plastic all over the woods. I didn't know people had turf anymore. Yeah, me neither until Tommy and his friends won it from me. She leaned her head. How does one win turf? I really didn't want to get into this. I really don't want to get into that, I said. It's over. They won the turf. End of story. She gave me the adult eye. You know the one. One eye squints and the other one half squints. Was there any fighting involved in the winning of this turf? Not really, I said. It doesn't matter anymore anyway. We just have to save Marvin Gardens. She smiled when I said his full name. She looked back at a few of the pictures. The one of the scat circles had phase 3 in the background. It must have been really sad for you, she said. What? Losing that cornfield, having all these new neighbors. I didn't know what word really covered that feeling. Sad was too small. Devastating was too dramatic. I just nodded. My family used to get our apples from Mr. Willard's orchard. I know it was sad for us to see all those trees go. Couldn't have been easy for your family. This is what made Miss G a legend. She was a real human being. She'd saved Bernadette from her horrible math teacher year by actually caring, the same as this. It's what made me think I might one day want to be a teacher. Well, that and doing cool experiments that made kids care about science. Annie could be Dr. Annie Bell. I'd be fine with Mr. Obe Devlin if I could grow crystals, dissect frogs, and make vinegar and baking soda volcanoes a few times per year. So who do we call? I asked. The game warden, a scientist? We start with the game warden, but I want a biologist there too. I have someone in mind. You? I wish, she said, and then laughed. But I chose to be a teacher. I went to college with a woman who should be able to help us. Was talking to her last week. You go back to class when the bell rings. I'll talk to her over my lunch. I'll have a plan by science class. We have to protect him fast. I want to be there. I mean, when the game warden sees him. I don't know if Marvin will be mean to strangers or anything, and I don't want him to be scared, I said. We'll make sure you're there. Promise? Promise.